Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, today's news is gonna hit hard, so grab some tissues because things are about to get emotional. We have a huge update coming from the Dallas Cowboys organization, and trust me, you're not going to want to miss this. So, sit tight, smash that like button, and let's dive into the shocking news that Micah Parsons has just said goodbye to Dallas. Is this the end of an era for one of the NFL's brightest stars? Let's break it all down right now. It's a day that every Dallas Cowboys fan will remember, but not for the reasons they'd hoped. Micah Parsons, the shining star of the Cowboys' defense, has announced that he's leaving Dallas. A player who quickly became the heartbeat of the team, a player who has been the face of their defense for years, is now walking away. The news came like a thunderclap, and the entire Cowboys community is in a state of shock. For a young man who was drafted just a few years ago and became an instant game changer, the idea that he's parting ways with the team that gave him his big break is unfathomable. Cowboys fans are left reeling, not just because of the departure of a superstar, but because it feels like an end of an era. Fans had built their hopes around the idea that Parsons would be the one to help bring a Super Bowl back to Dallas, and now, they're faced with the reality of watching him walk away. To understand just how big of a deal this is, we need to remember how Micah Parsons changed the landscape of the Dallas Cowboys defense. When he first arrived in 2021, no one really knew what to expect. But from the very first snap, it was clear that Micah wasn't just any rookie. He quickly cemented himself as a top-tier linebacker with an unparalleled ability to rush the passer and shut down opposing offenses. His athleticism, his fearlessness, his drive, all of that became part of what made Micah Parsons so special. It was as if he wasn't just playing the game, he was living and breathing it. Fans loved him because he wasn't only a star on the field but because of his relentless work ethic, his leadership, and his heart. Micah didn't just play for the Cowboys, he played for their legacy, for the pride of a team that hadn't lifted a Super Bowl trophy in over 2 decades. It's hard to forget those moments when Parsons was the last line of defense, breaking through the offensive line, making game-changing sacks, and rallying his teammates when they needed him the most. It's moments like those that had fans thinking he could be the key to the team's ultimate success. He was an icon in the making. But now, all of that seems uncertain. Why would Micah Parsons leave a team where he had such a significant impact, where the future seemed so bright? Well, as with all professional sports stories, there are always things happening behind the scenes that we may not be aware of. Micah has always been someone with high standards, both for himself and for the team he's playing for. And let's face it, the Cowboys, for all their talent, have fallen short when it mattered most in the playoffs. It's been years of underwhelming postseason performances, and for a player like Parsons, who has shown nothing but championship-level talent, the lack of results can be frustrating. How many times can you be the star of a team that can't seem to get over the playoff hump? How long before a player like Micah feels that it's time to pursue something else, a chance to be a part of a franchise that can truly compete for a title? The hunger for success, the drive to win it all, could very well be pushing Micah to explore his options. On top of the frustration with team performance, there's the business side of things. While Micah Parsons is still under contract, we all know how the NFL operates. Contract negotiations are a huge part of any player's journey, and when a player becomes as valuable as Parsons, they're going to demand compensation that reflects their worth. Perhaps the Cowboys and Parsons weren't able to come to an agreement that made both sides feel comfortable. Maybe Parsons felt that the front office didn't fully appreciate what he brings to the table. That could explain why he felt that walking away was his best option. There's also the reality that, in the NFL, loyalty can only go so far when a player's future is at stake. Whether it's the team not offering enough support or simply not showing the level of commitment he expected, the writing could have been on the wall for some time. We may never know all the details, but it's clear that Micah Parsons wasn't going to stick around for a situation that didn't meet his high standards. As we look ahead, the question now becomes, where does Micah Parsons go from here? The options are endless. A player of his caliber is highly sought after, and there will be no shortage of teams lining up to make him an offer. Think about the teams that could instantly benefit from adding someone like Parsons. A team like the Los Angeles Rams, who are in a rebuilding phase but have shown they want to contend. Or the Kansas City Chiefs, who are already stacked offensively but could use a dynamic defensive presence to complement their Super Bowl aspirations. Micah could even find himself on a team like the Chicago Bears, who are looking to make a splash with a new, aggressive defense. With so many possibilities, the NFL world is already speculating about where he could land. Micah Parsons is no longer just a part of the Cowboys' future, he's now a piece that could shift the balance of power in the league. The destination may be uncertain, but wherever he goes, he'll be expected to bring that same level of dominance and leadership that made him a household name in Dallas. But as we think about what happens next for Micah, we can't ignore the emotional toll this departure is taking on Cowboys fans. This is more than just a business decision, it feels personal. For years, Micah Parsons represented hope for Cowboys fans. He wasn't just a player who could make big plays, he was the guy who made you believe that maybe, just maybe, this could be the year the Cowboys finally break their Super Bowl drought. Now, as he walks away, fans are left wondering what could have been, what might still be possible. The emotional connection between a player and his fans is something that transcends the sport itself. It's built on trust, shared moments, and the belief that a player will be there for the long haul. To see Micah Parsons walk away is a tough pill to swallow for anyone who has cheered for the Cowboys these past few years. And then there's the future of the Cowboys. With Micah Parsons leaving, the team is going to have to find a way to rebuild without their most dominant defensive player. It's a huge blow, but it's not the end of the world. The Cowboys have been through tough times before, and while they've lost a key piece of their team, they still have talented players who can step up in his absence. But it's not going to be easy. The defense will need someone to fill the leadership void that Parsons leaves behind, and that player may not emerge immediately. The Cowboys will likely look for a player to step into that role, someone who can take control of the defense and rally the troops. And while there's still talent on the roster, it's hard to imagine anyone stepping into Parsons' shoes without feeling the weight of the expectation that comes with it. The team has the potential to bounce back, but they'll need to make the right moves to ensure they don't lose all the momentum that Micah Parsons helped build. As we wrap up this shocking chapter in Cowboys history, it's clear that Micah Parsons' departure will forever change the course of this franchise. But in the midst of the sadness, there's still hope. Hope that the team can regroup, rebuild, and eventually find someone who can fill the massive gap left by Parsons. And for Micah, while this may be the end of his journey with Dallas, it's the beginning of an exciting new chapter for him. Wherever he goes, he'll carry the legacy of his time in Dallas with him. So, Cowboys fans, even though this news is painful, remember that Micah Parsons will always be a part of the team's history. The next chapter is about to begin, and while we don't know what the future holds, we can all agree that this story is far from over.